Welcome to my channel. In this video I want to show you all my finished pictures in the books by R.Hampson. My acquaintance with the artist started from A Frog's Tale. I saw a couple of lovely pictures on Instagram. I tried to research from which books they are, and I discovered this lovely book. I purchased it, I liked it. But honestly, my total love with R.Hampson illustrations started from the next book. So here I did pictures, I tried to adjust to the paper. I discovered that for me the best media is polychromos pencils because they work better on such paper texture. Well, it's actually not much texture, but it helps to cover paper without white spots with two layers, exactly what I prefer to do. And also we have a lot of greenery on all pictures, and green colors I prefer from polychromos. And I started to do marker backgrounds for quicker work. So I loved this book. I did several pictures. I would call some of them quite creative, like this one, where I experimented with red grays, very unique colors from Ohuhu set. I absolutely love this family of gray markers. I definitely need to purchase spare markers. I love these shades. There are other pictures which I would love to color. I planned to do this one, but then R.Hampson published Around the World, the future story of Mr. Fogerty and Mr. Snail, and that's where I totally fall in love, and of course my attention was completely switched to that book. But here again we have several lovely pictures. Somehow I don't like how my white gouache works here. It looks very, I can't say very vibrant, but totally aligned. So it doesn't work with my markers. It's difficult to explain, but I want to mask black lines. When I apply gouache, I think, oh my god, that white, oh, other colors, they also don't work very well. I still don't understand what has happened, why I can't do normal gouache layer together with marker background. Honestly, in many pictures I was mostly interested in central part. This background was slightly boring, but well, if you listen to some nice music, if you have markers, you can color it very quickly. But of course I know when I look at these flowers that, well, I didn't put a lot of efforts into them, but the central part I do love. I also love that in this book we have tiny sometimes stories, sometimes just name, but it really helps to start thinking what is happening on the page, so it's a lovely idea. It's another one of my creative pages. Here I used again a lot of markers, and here surprisingly I do love my marker background, which is actually a rare thing. And another one where I wasn't very inspired by the background, but I wanted to color this cozy picture of Snail and Mr. Fogerty. He is so adorable, and I especially love those future frogs. On this one I even managed to use my Castle Art pastel tint pencils. Well, not very grateful work, they don't cover this paper very well, but on top of them I used my alcohol colorless blender, and that's actually helped me to get more decent coverage. Their colors were quite helpful for this page. A lot of those blue-green or light blue shades which I needed, so that's why I decided to experiment with Castle Art pastel tints, but I wouldn't recommend them to use them for anything bigger than this size of page. If you need to do the full page, well, it will be just suffering. For this paper, they are not the best choice. Now I will quickly show you another book about Mr. Fogerty, which I recently finished just in November. It was a long but very pleasurable story to color in this book, to travel with Mr. Fogerty. First, I promised myself to color in order, like we really travel, but then I stick on the fourth page probably, and I decided that no, if I want to have some progress, I can't wait until I have inspiration to do this fourth page. I can do maybe something in the middle, something in the end, and at least it will be some progress. And in such way, indeed, I traveled randomly, but I finished it. Again, I used markers and pencils, sometimes only pencils, but it's a rare thing. This one I did with polychromos pencils. This one I decided to skip. I do love how markers help me to do the background, but I don't like that when I look at the spread, quite often those stains on the left, they distract my attention from the beautiful page on the right. So I will try to cover those stains for you. I hope that it will help you to look only at the pictures. Here we have the whole company of Mr. Fogerty and friends. Here I combined Prismacolors, sometimes for several of the guests, and polychromoses. On this page I started to pay attention to the facial expression of the snail. With just eyes, R.Hampson managed to show so many emotions, and that's why Snail probably is my favorite character. I don't know how he still is keeping with Mr. Fogerty after so many dangerous situations, but I love their friendship. That was the page where I wasn't able to color in order and which I skipped, but in the end I think that when I finally decided about main colors, it turned out quite well. All my pictures in this book, they are in the first part. I decided that if I want to show this as a story of travel, I can't switch between first part, second part, even if sometimes in second part we have very lovely different details. That's their time in Paris. I absolutely love this menu with escargot and frogs in menu, so touch of humor from R.Hampson. Lovely lunch inside of the train. That's their Alpine traveling time. Sometimes I try to add such backgrounds by myself. On several pictures it was more successful. Sometimes when I look at it now, I think that maybe I had to do it more carefully, but at least I love the inner page where I tried to show the evening in Venice. Then we have this romantic meeting on the board of ship. Here started the Egypt traveling time. That was probably the quickest and easiest picture, but well, and this one was the most challenging. I left it almost as the last one because I realized that to do this background with pencils it's almost impossible, and with markers I don't have enough skills. In the end, everything turned, well, acceptable. Far from great, but acceptable. I decided to make water slightly more greenish because it's Nile. Sorry if I didn't pronounce the name of river correctly in English. I had to check, of course. So in Egypt, I wanted to show that the water is slightly more greenish. My marker finished on this area, so I had to switch to similar color. It also didn't help my sky to look nice. Well, I finished it and that's okay. Here they travel to India. Some chilling time. I really love that I decided to do these flowers in yellow, not in traditional pink, and pink I put on the sky. That's definitely one of my favorites. A lovely pangolin, I enjoy doing him, and from time to time I love to use such vibrant, unusual colors. I think that for such style of pictures it could be used. For realistic pictures, realistic landscapes, or other pages, I wouldn't use such colors, but here it really worked well. This one I colored with pencils, and you can see that thin paper it slightly suffered from my heavy hand, but picture is lovely. That's also one of my favorites because I absolutely love composition of this one. I love all pictures by R.Hampson because of their well-balanced composition, but this one is definitely one of the best. I immediately imagined this dark background as a contrast to the inner landscape. Everything here was so fun to color, starting from this poor abandoned snail and interesting suit of Mr. Fogerty and of course a pirate. That was my last page, which I didn't want to color in the beginning. In the end, of course, I realized that I had to color it if I want to finish page. It's lovely, but I had no idea how to do this inner part. In the end, I also used my color softs here with their vibrant reds and orange colors. They helped me to do this part of the circus. I deliberately selected such ridiculous colors for the suit of Mr. Fogerty. I loved like green frog and pink suit, it's so awful. But for the circus, I think that it was perfect. The more ridiculous, the better. This one is much more harmonical, elegant in color. I really love how I did sky, and I think that this suit it's one of the most elegant. Maybe for me it's one of the most interesting thing to color all these pictures. It's to imagine different colors for Mr. Fogerty. Sometimes elegant, sometimes something funny and deliberately vibrant, not very complementary to his skin color. So I really have a lot of fun when I do my color planning for this book. Here it was page where I was really afraid to do marker background, but in the end everything worked really well. So many lovely shades of blue ohuhu markers, they helped me to create this chilling atmosphere of this frozen water. So this one I really love. Again, some fun colors. Here I think that balloon looks quite nice. Polychromos work well here, and color softs. If you don't need to do any complicated layering, if you just need to use them for background, for some details, like I used them for this inner part of the ship, color softs cover this paper quite well, so I definitely intend to use them more frequently. With their vibrant colors, they are a very good choice to color in these books. So here we have the end of the journey, quite lovely. Nice chilling time at home. I also did a couple of pictures here between two sets of pages were my strange experiments with stencils. And I have the page in the very end, which one I love. I hadn't started yet the second part, but I plan to start and maybe one day to finish second part of their journey through times. I also have finished pictures in 3 other books and 2 untouched books. In Moonlight, Mischief, here I have 2 pictures, I believe, yes. Honestly, I copied my own idea of the background from previous book where we had the tropical page with pangolin. I decided that I loved such vibrant greens for the background there, and I can use them here. And of course, all those blue, green, turquoise, blue colors, they create very good contrast to the orange fur of tiger. Picture is so adorable. This baby sitting when every baby doing something fun, something mischievous. Very lovely page. I always smile when I look at it. And another one which I love, but maybe I selected too vibrant green colors. That was my mistake again, because I'm not very good with doing marker trees, marker bushes, and any greenery. So maybe that green color, which I hoped would attract attention to the elephant, now I think that the only area where I can look at this vibrant green. First, I was slightly confused how to do the skin of elephant so it won't look boring, but I think that in the end everything looks quite well. I love how R.Hampson draws those birds. They always angry birds, definitely, but still lovely. Sadly, that's all for Moonlight Mischief, but with other books, well, the situation is almost the same. I paid so much of my time and attention to Around the World that all his other books, well, they are not very frequent guests on my working table. But here I have this title page. I really love such kind of collages and such kind of pictures. So I did it. I think that I did next two pages for Olympic Games in Paris. Mr. Fogerty, he wanted to participate in bicycle competition, but they didn't arrive in time, sadly. But at least they had a lovely time traveling through Europe. I decided to do two pictures with the same subject because they both were quite lovely. I do love this idea of similar pictures with slightly changed details, but now when details started to be more and more different, it's really difficult to select which set you want to color. So I did one here and one here. You can see the differences, they are huge, so I wasn't bored at all to color similar pictures. Very lovely. And finally I have Mountain King, which I consider as one of the best fantasy books, despite thin paper. For me, it doesn't matter. This style of pictures I can color without watercolors. Of course, with watercolors, maybe they would be more spectacular. Printed on decent paper, I can use watercolor effects. But even with just pencils, I think that pictures here are quite lovely. This one I even did with some I think so color pencils, so something budget, and they also managed to work on this paper quite well. The rest it's I think that it's Prismacolors. Well, again, all these videos from R.Hampson books for all pictures I have on playlist on my channel. If you need to check how I colored them, if you need some inspiration, you are welcome to watch them. So that's the page which I colored for Color with Ukraine, color along when we colored Magicians. I think that this Spellbound, it's absolutely great. Again, it was difficult choice between first and second part, but this frog, it totally won my heart, and I wanted to do a page where it's present. The second one I did with mostly with pencils, and it's a mix of Prismacolors because such shades as slate, gray, lavender, they are quite unique, so I used them for parts of the landscape, but main details I did with polychromoses. So it's totally possible to color with pencils without watercolor and almost without markers. I think that markers are used only here to blend a little bit green colors, only again as a blender to color quicker. Well, sadly that's all, but I fully intend to color in all of these books during the next year. Now I also have other books like Steampunk or Winter Wonder. So definitely R.Hampson is one of the artists which I tend to color each month. Thank you for watching, and until my next videos.